Youth Squad! See what we did?
Oh,
That was
what
pretty
about
dope, man.
that? Oh, we are now up to week number 5. Can you believe the journey's been rolling? You know, we were having a chat just this week. Sometimes it's hard to believe they pay us to do this, but it is a reality. We are into week 5. We've got a brand new question, so check it out.
What's up, youth? And g'day, boys. My question, I think, is an important one. What's first on your Spotify playlist?
Oh, it's a good one.
It's a good
There
one.
we go, week 5.
We'll get the Spotify playlist.
Surely we've got to actually be honest here and check what we got.
Let's have a look and see.
Let's have a squiz.
First on the playlist, Spotify. Here we go. There it is.
It's a good one, actually.
Coming in hot.
Surely we're going to vibe
I don't do the most, but I do a lot. I don't make a toast, cause we still alive. No big. I feel like pop. I shoot the shot. I'm coming in hot. Just like that. It's like that. Anyway, that's enough of that.
Oh, sorry, man. Yeah.
That's good vibes, bar.
Yeah.
Vibes,
Like last year, good vibes, man. Always good vibes.
That's right. Well,
There you
chill
go.
vibes last time, good vibes this
Good
time.
vibes
That's
this
what
time.
we're kind of feeling. We are in week 5, and we've got a whole brand new segment of the road trip. And actually, this is a fantastic segment, road trip. Lots of stuff kind of happening, but mostly it's happening to this guy. So check it out. The road trip continued, but some problems had occurred.
Between Yatala and our next destination, James had gone on a solo trip to Strathpine and broken his finger playing footy for the Pine Rivers Swans, resulting in him taking a trip to the hospital to have him put back together.
This was particularly an issue because our next destination was Brendale, a little suburb in North Brisbane, which, in our opinion, was perhaps the #1 location in the state, for no other reason than it was the place on Earth that Optimus Prime had decided to make his home.
But we weren't going to Brendale to hang with our mate Optimus Prime. We were headed to Brendale to fight.
See, after Season 2's epic mock press conference before Mr. Muscleman, the call had gone out for Luke and I to actually fight, actually box on. So having a broken finger was posing to be a bit of an issue, right up until I remembered the clause 13.1a in the PACT5 Constitution.
He was unfortunately right. Right back when PACT5 had formed, we had put in the injury clause.
I was allowed to have a replacement, and I knew just who to get to replace me. Damien Beatdown Brown, who'd had 32 professional fights, including fights in the UFC, over 2 years owned the gym next to where we worked, and where we had planned to have our fight. And he was more than excited to step in and take my place and throw Luke around.
Bro, where are you?
I was a little confused as well because I'm like, I thought I was just going to uni and then I had an hour, so then I didn't go, and then I went to the gym. I was so confused.
When? Yeah, are you...
Alright, I'll go there. Yeah, I'll go there.
Okay.
Yeah, alright, I'll see you in a bit.
What? Thought I was getting a quick pump in before he went. That dude.
Jeremy has a university class a little bit later today, so we actually were taking 2 cars to come to the gym for this big showdown. But Jezza just decided along the way that he wasn't looking good enough for being on camera, so he's just gone to get a quick pump on at the gym, get those curls going, and come a bit later.
I thought I was just going from the PACT5 house to uni, and I looked at the time, I had like an hour and a half to kill, so I'm like, oh, I'll just go to the gym. And then I was through my second set, and Jimmy calls up, I'm like, maybe I was supposed to go to the fight and then go to uni from there, which is what actually Jimmy said on the text message, but I didn't actually read the whole thing. I just read, you should come to the PACT5 house at 9, so yeah.
I knew this. It's just a fight, man. It's just a... I can't do this. Oh, I think I'm gonna throw up. Oh, it's not... Talk us through how you're feeling, Lukey.
Yeah, fantastic. Confident as always.
Alrighty, well, I'm here with Damien Beatdown Brown at Base Training Centre, which just so happens to be right next door to our kind of offices. Thanks for joining us, mate. Looking forward to you putting a bit of a beat down, stepping in for me, so I appreciate fighting on my behalf. What a fantastic win that is. But hey, tell us a little bit about where did that journey to MMA kind of start for you?
Oh man, it's a long one, but I did martial arts as a kid.
Yep.
When I was 5 or 6 years old, competed every month, and then went off play football and in my teens and joined the army. And then I had an ankle reco when I got back from the Middle East, and I needed something, so I went to kickboxing for a bit of fitness.
Yeah,
and,
wow.
Got addicted to it pretty quickly.
Yeah,
and
wow.
Here I am.
Yeah, and that journey led pretty quickly into kind of UFC, right? Like,
Yeah, I mean, my first 6 fights I was undefeated. No one really set the goal of getting in the UFC. You kind of had to move to America back then and train there and get signed. And I trained, and competition is just a byproduct of training, so I just pressure test myself. And then by the time I went 6-0, it was well and truly a goal to fight in the UFC.
yeah, cool.
So yeah, that's kind of where
Which
that
you
came
did. Early 2016, is that right?
from. Yeah, travelled everywhere. I fought in Ireland, England, Jordan, Malaysia, Macau,
Yeah, wow.
New Zealand,
Yeah.
Japan. I don't know.
Yeah,
Anywhere else?
so
Anywhere else,
he's
mate?
got a little bit behind him in the lead up to kind of taking on Luke. Of course, has fought nowhere. Barely can even beat up his brother. That's the truth. And in fact, he got into the gym. You might not know this, but this is a true story. Got into getting into the gym because his sisters were actually stronger than him and beat him up. That's a true fact. There you go, PACT5. It's true. It is true.
I'm pretty sure his sisters will beat him up for what he's wearing, but anyway.
First time fighting a guy in a romper, is it?
I don't really fight guys in rompers.
Yeah. See, that didn't give me much confidence at all, that whole interview, when you said that you've been fighting since you were a kid and in competition.
Yeah.
And I did lose my fights to myself.
We weren't throwing punches to use. That is why you're so big now.
It is why I started. Like actual truth.
Wrestle me now.
That's legitimately what started his gym thing.
You know how to break fall, right?
It's under him with the arms down.
Distribute the force throughout the
And
hand.
just practice, because it's going to happen a few times.
So sit.
Yeah. Alright, let me go.
Sit. Bend these. Not bad. Go one more.
Oh, this is gonna be good. This is gonna be so good.
So, PACT5, fight 1, Damien over Lukey J. Let's see if Lukey J can do something. And Damien grabs him and throws him on his back. And again, same thing. Get up, mate.
Like, actually, where are your muscles, bro?
This is a good position for your muscles. Throwing on his back. It's ridiculous.
I can't even get his feet.
Now he's on his belly. He's flipped him. And I know his back. I know he's his legs. What's going on? Get up, mate.
Stand up, Luke. What's your bench press, Luke? 160?
Stand up, put it away. Stand up.
Man, throw him everywhere. On his back, on his belly. Oh, now he's on his back. Oh, what's gonna happen next?
Come on, mate. Lift him
What
up.
have been going for? It's exhausting.
Please. And throws him on his belly. Still holding him.
Come on, mate.
Putting him on the ground. He's on his belly still.
Actually, don't think
He's
Damien's
starting
feet
to
have left
kind
the
of.
ground.
Oh, Damien. He's holding his. And Lukey J full. He's used his weight. He lifted his whole body onto him. So he's giving him a piggyback and he just fell for no reason. You could have carried him. And he grabs his leg and flips him on his back. over his leg. And now flips him on his belly. Again. Just over his leg. And now he's holding foot. Now, he's hopping. He's on push-up mode. And then he just
Push-up
pulls him back and he falls straight on his belly. Damien. And that throws him on his belly again. How can he do this? And again! How, Damien? And again, on his back. I've never seen Lukey J fight anyone that bad. He goes to the gym every day. This is better than Damien versus a kid.
Okay. Damn stuff. That's it. Good, mate. The lungs, really good. I don't think I've been thrown around like that before. It's being ragdoll.
Impressive.
Great for this up.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I learned from Damien, if you close your eyes, you don't feel the pain as much.
You alright, big dog?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, okay. Can I get you anything? I got some Nurofen,
Yeah, thanks, bro.
Panadol,
Rapid, nice.
ice pack,
Thanks, bro.
some counselling to
That's
get
cool.
past the embarrassment.
Oh, put it away.
Arrows.
Put it away. Put it away. At least I can still clap.
Yeah, that's valid.
Yeah.
That's valid. Boy, oh boy. Nah, seriously, you're actually doing alright?
Yeah, doing okay,
Yeah,
man.
cool.
Cruising. Exodus series, brother.
Yes, we are getting into our Exodus series. Got some exciting news actually, because
Yep.
we're actually not doing the Exodus series from the studio anymore. We're going to be doing it live at Christ Central Youth. So check it out. We are crossing now live to Christ Central Youth for our new part of Exodus. We're up to number 5. I'm bringing the word. It's going to be so good. Check it out.
When Pharaoh finally let the Israelites go, God didn't lead them out through the Philistine country, even though the route was shorter. This was because the Israelites may turn around if they had to go to war. God led the Israelites instead through the desert towards the Red Sea. Moses also took bones belonging to Joseph because Joseph had made the Israelites swear an oath to take his bones with them when God delivered them from Egypt. And with that, the Israelites started making their way up out of Egypt. God led them by a pillar of cloud during the day and a pillar of fire throughout the night. God told Moses to get the Israelites to camp between Migdol and the sea so that the Pharaoh would think the Israelites are wandering around, confused around the desert. The Pharaoh's heart would be hardened once more, and he would send his armies after the Israelites. So the Israelites camped where God had asked them to. When Pharaoh learned the Israelites had fled the land, he gathered 600 of his best chariots and sent his men after them, saying, "We have let the Israelites go and lost their services. Go after them and bring them back." So the Egyptian army, all his men, horses and troops, pursued the Israelites and overtook where they were camping. When the Israelites saw Pharaoh and the Egyptians approaching, they were terrified and cried out, "Did you bring us out here to die because there were no graves in Egypt? It would have been better to serve Egypt than to die out here in the desert." Moses responded by telling the Israelites to stand firm and reminding them that God would deliver them. They only needed to stand still. The Lord would fight for them. God then said to Moses, "Why are you crying out to me? Tell the Israelites to move forward and raise your staff out over the sea. I will part the waters so you can walk through on dry ground." That night, Moses stretched his staff out over the sea, and God blew a strong wind from the east to part the waters and create dry ground for his people to walk through, just as he had said he would. When the Israelites walked through the sea, there was a wall of water to both the right and the left of them. When the Egyptians arrived at the sea, Pharaoh's heart was hard, and he ordered his armies to follow them into the sea. When God saw the Egyptians were in the sea, he threw them into confusion and jammed the wheels of their chariots so they couldn't drive. The Egyptians cried out, "Let's get away from the Israelites. Their God is fighting for them." God told Moses to stretch his arm back out over the sea once all the Israelites were through, and the water would close back over the land. Moses did this, and at daybreak, the water closed over the Egyptian army. Pharaoh, his men, his chariots and horses all perished. Not a single one survived. That day, God had saved the Israelites from the Egyptians. And when they saw the Egyptians lying on the shore, they realized how powerful their God was, and they worshipped him.
Oh man, all right. Well, it is good to be back. Thanks, Anika, for reading the word. I got to say, it's nice to be back and doing a live talk, one that I prepared to do live, unlike last week. So I'm counting this one as my first kind of live talk back. So it's good. It's good to be able to see you guys when we're kind of talking and working our kind of way through the word. I do want to say a shout out to any who might be watching this online on our YouTube channel. It's great that you can kind of check this out too. Hey, tonight is road trip night, not just because the PACT5 videos happen. Hopefully you're enjoying the road trip as much as I enjoyed watching Luke get ragdolled earlier this week. There's definitely been some interesting kind of moments last week and the week before in terms of the Balimba Creek. If you haven't seen that episode, that was another one that I enjoyed doing. But the PACT5 road trip is kind of drawing towards an end. We've only got a couple more kind of moments left. And as the PACT5 road trip draws to an end, we get to a moment in the story here where the road trip for the Israelites is just beginning. And that's why I'm saying it's road trip night tonight, because their road trip out of Egypt is just beginning. If you've been with us on the journey, then you'll know, hey, the Israelites who once were slaves in Egypt, they're finally free. It's this incredible moment. Hundreds of years of horrendous oppression has come to an end. God is now taking his people on an epic journey. It's an incredible journey. I mean, have a look with me if you still have your Bibles open. I hope that you do, to chapter 13 and verse 21 and 22. As they start this journey, check this out. It says, "By day, the Lord went ahead of them in a pillar of cloud to guide them on their way, and by night a pillar of fire to give them light so that they could travel by day or night." Isn't that incredible? What a way to get around. What a navigation system. It's certainly better than Jezza and Google Maps. A pillar of cloud and a pillar of fire just guiding you day and night where you need to go, and making sure that the Israelites, they know God who brought them out of Egypt is still with them. He's the one taking them on this journey, this new journey that they're going to embark on for a long time, but this journey that's just beginning. And then we hit chapter 14, what Anika just read to us. And this road trip, this journey, it kind of meets its first little bump. And when I say little bump, I mean it meets its big bump. I mean, did you read with Anika there? We're going to read it again. Have a look, verse 5 with me. Here's what happens on this road trip. All of a sudden, when the king of Egypt's told that his people have fled, Pharaoh and all of his officials changed their minds about them and said, "What have we done? We've let the Israelites go. We've lost their services. What have they done?" And so they get their chariots and they get the horsemen and they head on out and they take off after these Egyptians. I mean, man, the remorse is strong with these ones, right? Like 10 rounds of going head to head with God, getting absolutely smacked down, and the Israelites have barely taken a step outside of Egypt, and they're like, no, wait, what are we doing? We had all this judgment for kind of mistreating and oppressing them, but now that they're gone, actually, now let's go back to that. Let's get them back. We need our slaves back. It's incredible. So they go out, they get the chariots, and they head on out. I mean, talk about gluttons for punishment, right? As if the first 10 rounds that they had with God wasn't enough. They're going after the Israelites again. And so then we read that the Israelites, they see them coming. And I got to say, they come up with the worst idea ever, don't they? Like, incredibly. I mean, I've done some pretty dumb things in my life, come up with some pretty dumb ideas. Some of them have even been on the screen in recent weeks. Maybe you think kind of going on a creek in an inflatable red vehicle is a dumb idea. I think the dumbest thing I did in PACT5 was agree to challenge Lukey J to a bench press competition last season. If you saw that, that was a dumb idea. But that's got nothing. They're dumb ideas. That's got nothing on what the Israelites suggest here. I mean, it is the worst idea. Have a look at verse 11 of chapter 14 and read it along with me. Here the Israelites, they see the Egyptian army coming and they say this to Moses. They said to Moses, "Was it because there were no graves in Egypt that you brought us to the desert to die? What have you done to us, bringing us out of Egypt? Didn't we say to you in Egypt, 'Leave us alone, let us serve the Egyptians'? It would have been better for us to serve the Egyptians than to die in the desert." Hey, Moses, you know how those Egyptians, they used to kill us and kill our children and like beat us and put us in this horrendous oppression all the time? You remember that? They made us kind of work without straw, which was next to impossible. You remember all that? Why did you get us out of that? We told you not to do that. I mean, we did kind of cry out to God and God heard our cry. But let's not let facts get in the way of a good complaint right now. We liked being horribly oppressed slaves. Why are we out of that? I mean, I'm surprised Moses didn't just straight up respond with, "Are you being serious? Some sort of joke?" I mean, it literally makes no sense. Zero sense. God's rescued them from this incredible oppression. And He's done so by showing them how superior He is to the Egyptians in the most one-sided battle, to the point that the Egyptians, let's not forget this, the Egyptians paid them to get out. They lined their pockets with gold and silver. "Take our valuables, just get out." And they think that that whole process was a bad idea. What, are they being serious? I'm not the only one in the room right now who thinks that's just crazy, right? Like, there are other people here with me. I got a few nods, one or two nods, right? Like it makes zero sense to want to go back to hundreds of years of oppression where they kill your children and make you work without straw, right? That makes zero sense. All right, I got two people in the room that agree with me. Okay. But here's the thing, right? Like, don't we do the same thing? See, remember, if you've been with us on this journey, this story of God's rescue of His people out of Egypt, it's a shadow of what God has done for us in Jesus. Rescued people out of slavery to sin. Rescued people like you and me out of slavery to sin. That cruel master. The master that leads to death, that binds us up, that takes away our freedom and our joy. Cruelly promises so much and yet delivers nothing but emptiness. And don't we so often go back and look at that life that we've been rescued from and think maybe that was a better alternative than what I've got right now? Don't we do that too? See, fear, it's causing the Israelites to forget what God has done for them. Forget that God has rescued them. Forget what God has rescued them from. The fear of what's about to happen right now or what is happening for them right now, it's causing them to forget what has come in the past. And don't we do the same thing? Maybe the fear of kind of missing out causes you to join in with things that you and do things that you know that you shouldn't. Maybe the fear of the way that people are going to treat you for following Jesus causes you to live as though Jesus doesn't really matter. At least act around people like the one who gave up his life for you isn't really worth talking about. Maybe life has taken a turn for you. When you first came to Jesus, it was awesome. But now following Jesus is hard. Saying no to sin is hard. And it's causing you to look back and think, maybe life was better before. See, just like the Israelites' fear causes us to forget too. As crazy and foolish as it is for the Israelites to want to go back to Egypt, it's just as crazy and foolish for us, for those who are following Jesus, to want to go back to sin. And if you are a follower of Jesus here, I want to ask you tonight, brother, sister, have you forgotten what Jesus has rescued you from? Have you forgotten how devastating sin is and what he did to rescue you? Because if you have, maybe tonight you need to hear the words that Moses speaks in response to the Israelites. Have a look with me, chapter 14, verse 13. See, Moses, he doesn't say, "Are you serious?" He says this: Moses answered the people, "Do not be afraid. Stand firm, and you will see the deliverance the Lord will bring to you today. The Egyptians that you see today, you will never see again. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still." They're incredible words that Moses speaks right there, aren't they? Don't be afraid, stand firm. The two phrases kind of linked together. Don't let fear cause you to run away. It's actually more of a command even than a word of comfort. It's kind of like a mom or dad telling a little child, "Don't try and cross the road unless you're holding my hand." It's not so much a word of comfort to the child as it is a command, really. The child's never going to make it on its own. And so comes the command, "Don't cross the road unless you're holding my hand." Don't be afraid, stand firm, Moses says to the people. See, the Israelites, they actually have nothing to be afraid of. If their exit from Egypt has showed them anything, it's that God's got this. They just need to hold his hand. As Moses says in verse 14, the Lord will fight for you. You only need to be still. All you need to do is be still. Now, that's obviously not a physical be still, because we know they have to actually walk across the Red Sea in a moment. They're going to need to do some walking. But this is a position of the heart and the mind, in the sense that you don't need to try and get through this. You just have to take my hand and I'll do it for you. See, what the Israelites need to know right now is that God's rescue plan will not fail. He hasn't put the biggest beat down on Pharaoh and the Egyptians, brought them out of Egypt with their pockets lined with gold and silver just to send them back, or for them to die at the hands of the Egyptians here in the desert. See, God's rescue plan will not fail. There's nothing to be afraid of. But the Israelites also need to know that the way they're going to make it to the end is exactly the same way they got there in the first place. It's all God. See, if you were with us last week, you'll remember they brought nothing to the table. They were just as guilty as the Egyptians. They didn't have anything worthy for God to rescue them. God did it because he loved them. It's exactly the same now, here on the banks of the Red Sea. Just like last week, God made a way. So we're going to see here, again, God makes a way. Not because they deserve it. I mean, we just read they wanted to go back. But because God's love for them is so great. So God makes a way, doesn't he? And it's a pretty spectacular way, isn't it? I mean, there's a reason why people who even haven't read the Bible sometimes use the phrase parting of the sea. It's because this is on another level. When you read the story, parting of the sea, when you think about the parting of the sea, isn't it just extraordinary to even try and imagine? I mean, I love the fact that we've been doing this thing with Recon and being able to visualize it in some capacity. But this parting of the Red Sea, it's once again the creator of the universe doing something that nobody else can. Just a little gentle creator flex. He causes this wind, we read in chapter 14, to rush in and literally part the sea. Have a look at verse 22 of chapter 14. And the Israelites went through the sea on dry ground with a wall of water on the right and on the left. A wall of water on the right and on the left. Just take a moment to picture what that must have been like, to walk through the sea, water on one side and on the other. Has God shown up for them or what? Every one of the Israelites there walked through on dry ground. The old, the young, the men, the women. No doubt those celebrating all the way through. No doubt those fearing that at any moment the water was going to come crashing down upon them. Every single one of them, though, makes it to the end. And of course, we know how the story plays out. As the Egyptians attempt to cross, they get wildly stuck. And just before the walls of water come crashing down, and this incredible moment happens, they say something where they too recognize this isn't just some freak of nature moment. Have a look at verse 25. Right at the end there of verse 25, after God jammed the wheels of the chariots, the Egyptians said there at the end, "Let's get away from the Israelites. The Lord is fighting for them against Egypt." I don't want to say no kidding, right? I mean, didn't the 10 plagues show you that God was fighting for the Israelites? You're fighting against God, Egyptians, the creator of the universe, not the Israelites. That's why you lose every single time. You would have beaten the Israelites if you were just fighting them, but you're not. You're fighting God. Because the Israelites, they're nothing special. They didn't do anything grand to get out of Egypt. They didn't do anything spectacular to get across the sea. And whether they celebrated all the way or whether they inched their way off, fearing the walls was coming crashing down, they got there because God. They got there because God. That's it. In fact, that's the essence of the entire message of the Bible, the entire message of the gospel right there, because God. We read in a book in the New Testament, Ephesians chapter 2, says this, "But because of his great love for us, God, who is rich in mercy, made us alive with Christ, even when we were dead in our transgressions. It is by grace that you have been saved." Do you know, if you're a follower of Jesus here tonight, you've been saved because God. Because God loved you. Because God is rich in mercy. Because he died for you. You know, if you're here tonight and you're checking out, what's the deal with Christianity? And you're wondering, why do Christians do what they do? Why do Christians believe what they believe? Why are Christians who they are? Well, this here is the answer. Because God. Not because anything they've done to deserve it, just because God and his love. And I want to say to you tonight, that can be your story too. If you'll just be still, stop trying to make the grade, stop trying to be good enough to prove that you can be loved by God. If you'll just take his hand, let your life story be what God has done, not what you have done. That can be you. But see, the story also reminds us that our way to the end is just as the way it started. And so I want to say tonight, if you're a follower of Jesus, perhaps you're a bit like me, and you easily forget that. Maybe you're here tonight and the weight of temptation and sin is bearing down on you, and you're thinking about running. Give up on Jesus. Turn back to life without him. And if that is you tonight, don't want to say don't. Don't be afraid. Stand firm and watch God fight for you. He didn't rescue you from sin to abandon you now. He's got this. Or maybe tonight, as sin and temptation has been closing in on you, you are running. Maybe the guilt and the shame of what you've done has you running. You're trying to beat it, trying so hard, hoping that no one will find out. But deep down, you know you can't win. Brother or sister, I want to say stop running. Be still and watch the Lord fight for you. You can't beat sin on your own. Let God beat it for you, because God can. He's already done it. See, your way to the end, to beat sin and temptation that's weighing you down, your way to the end is the same as when you started. It's all God. So don't be afraid. Stand firm. The sin you see today, because of Jesus, you can be sure that a day is coming when you will never see it again. The Lord has, and He continues to fight for you. You only need be still. That's the incredible truth of the gospel right there. Our way to the end, to a life forever with King Jesus, where sin is no more. Our way to the end is exactly the same way as it started. It's all God. Hey, let's pray. Father God, we thank you so much for Jesus. We thank you that He died to set us free from sin. What an incredible thing that is. And as we've been reflecting on this story of the Israelites coming out of Egypt, we see again and again your incredible grace and love and mercy for a people who don't deserve it, just as we don't deserve your love. Help us to know this truth, Jesus, that we might come to you trusting that you've got this. And we pray this in your name. Amen.
Oh, that was the best episode yet. Oh, let's try that again. Hey, hope you liked that video. Like and subscribe. Check out some other content that we've got there. Let others know about the PACT5 movement. But from us, for now, peace out.